So this video is going to show you how to do membership. So I've set up a fake Buy Nothing group, and I've asked some of my global and regional friends to uh, give me answers as if they were joining my group. And so we're going to go through the different things that could happen. Um, so what you'll need is your group, Buy Nothing, whatever your group name is. And then I've also got a tab open for the Volunteer Resource Center and my member verification message templates. I think usually it's good, if you can, to take these templates and save them to some kind of file or note system on your computer or phone so that you can put in the name of your actual group and fill some of the blanks in. But for now, we're just going to use this. And then I also have my map here. For the purposes of this video, I use the boundaries of my local group, which is in Pflugerville. So we'll be using those. Okay, so you're in the discussion, the top of your page, and you want to see who wants to join your group. So you can either click on here, 6 members want to join, or you can also click on moderate group and then go over here to member requests. It doesn't matter how. So this first person, Cheryl Baker, it says she lives in Portland, Oregon. So it doesn't matter if they have something on their profile which says they live somewhere. We don't take that for granted. Some people just don't update that at all. In this case, Cheryl actually does live in Portland because she's helping me out. So the other thing to watch for is this groups in common. And then you'll also see their groups. So you can see that because we're global admins, Cheryl and I are in a lot of groups together. Most people, you won't have this, but if there's a neighborhood group in your area, sometimes you'll have that one in common with people. But what you want to watch for is Buy Nothing group. So if Cheryl was not doing this for the purposes of the video, I would say, oh, she's in, oh, I won't even show me all of them. She's in, Buy Nothing, these are all admin trainings, but we're in some of the similar local admin groups. So she's in all these groups. Maybe she's in Buy Nothing Pflugerville East, and that's not my group. So that's something to watch for. If you are an observing admin in the groups around directly touching your boundaries, then that will help you kind of see if you want to double check that. Okay, so we go down to the answers. So Cheryl has answered this question of where she lives. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go over to my map and click on the little magnifying glass and put those in, and it pops up. So I'm going to click on this, and it'll pull it up in my map. So I'm going to zoom out, because you guys don't know what color my group is. So I am this yellow group right here, which if I want to see what it is, I can click on it. And then there's a red group and an orange group. So there's no way I can possibly know where Cheryl actually lives. So I need to send her a message. The other thing I'm going to do is take a screenshot of this, because I've found that people don't always know if they live north, south. I'm going to actually zoom out, sorry, before I take a screenshot. People don't actually know if they live north, south, east, west of something. So if you can take a screenshot and give them the screenshot and then ask them what color they live in, then sometimes that's a little bit easier for them. Okay, so I'm going back over here to Cheryl. It says she is not a member of any other Buy Nothing project groups, which is not true in the real world, but it's true for the purposes of this video. And it says she is at least 21 years old. Excuse me. So I would click on her name, and then it will pop up message. And I've deleted my messages with Cheryl, so you won't see them. So now I'm going to go over to my membership verification message. So the problem with Cheryl's entry is that I don't know which group she's in. So let's scroll down and see which group we want to do. She's over the minimum age. Not seeing it yet. So maybe we don't have a template for that. So let's write one right now, and then I'll copy and paste it there. Okay, so this is what I would write. Thanks for your recent request to join Buy Nothing neighborhood. I would probably just put that, maybe town. The cross streets that you gave are right at the boundary of 3 groups. Can you check the picture below and tell me which color you live in? So the other thing that I've done, if it's just 2 groups, I can still do the picture and the color, but sometimes you can say, if you live north or in the purple, then this is the link for the group you need to join. If you live south in the yellow, then this is the right group for you. So you can give them ways to make it easier for them to find the other group, even if they don't message you back. Okay, so I'm going to hit this, and then I'm going to copy and paste my picture in. So there we go. So we've sent Cheryl a message. Because I'm doing this for the purposes of demonstration, these are the ones that I personally, if I'm doing membership, probably would leave in the queue for a little bit to see if they respond. But if I didn't want to do that, I could say at the bottom, please, re-ask to join the group. It's hard in this situation, it's making it more cumbersome for them. So I would probably leave her in the queue for a couple days to see if she sees my message. And then if she didn't after that, then I would go ahead and delete her decline her request to join. And then if she popped up again and I was still doing membership, then I could answer the question. And then I can give her the link to join whichever group, if it's mine or not. Okay, so I'm going to leave Cheryl in the queue for the purpose of this video. Okay, Amy, groups in common. We again have less groups in common. None of them are local groups. They are all groups for regional admin, so we're going to ignore that part. And it looks like she has put something which doesn't look like a real address. Okay, so I'm going to put that in here. Hit enter. No results. Sometimes people don't understand what cross streets are, and so we could also try one of them. Oh, there's a Beanstalk consignment store in Lago Vista, Texas. The other thing that I do sometimes is I will actually open a Google map and try the streets too, because sometimes they are better. The regular Google Maps is better, and it'll give you some ideas. But in this case, she just gave me streets that don't exist. So let's see what template we want to use for her. Okay, so I would probably send her a variation of this one. So we'll copy and paste. Oh, but I was just looking at the address. So it looks like on her list, she has told me that she is a member of many, many other Buy Nothing groups, some of which don't actually exist. So I could do a couple things, right? I'm just going to use this template right now. Okay, so I'm going to send this. Hello, thank you for your request to join, and this is where having it saved would be easier. This group is for neighbors who live in Pflugerville, Texas. So she gave the wrong answers, so I would kind of delete this and enter my own text. So I would say, I can't find cross streets of Beanstalk and Giants Road. Can you send? So I could ask her to send me other streets. Some people do better with maps. And then I could say, I haven't ever heard of these Buy Nothing groups. Where are those located? And then we require, it's been a long day, I'm sorry for the bad typing, members to join only one group, the group where they live. So I could still leave this up, or I might just even delete this too. It kind of depends. If you're the only one doing membership, or you have it split up so that one person is doing certain letters of the alphabet and the other person is doing certain letters, then it's okay to leave them in the queue for a couple days to see if they respond, if it's one of these weird situations. Usually we want to clear the queue just to make it easier for ourselves so we're not forgetting what we did. Okay, so I'm just going to hit enter. So I'm going to leave her in the queue too. Okay, Alexa. So again, we have a bunch of groups in common, but that's just because we are in a lot of the same groups, but none of them intersect with my neighborhood town. So I need to send her a message and say, so that here's the one I'm going to send for her too. Okay. Live in the so if you can copy and paste them somewhere, it'll save you a lot of typing. Okay, I will happy to add you to the group, but I will need to verify 3 things first, but she didn't answer in this question. And then I'm going to copy and paste the URL to my group. You do have to copy and paste the last little backslash, just in case you've ever tried to do it and it didn't work. So it should show up the link preview right here. What else was I going to say? Something brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to send that to her. And in this case, I'm going to decline her request. If you decline the request, then it makes Facebook more likely to suggest that they join the group again. If you leave them in the message queue or the membership queue for a long time, then Facebook still thinks it's being processed, and so it won't suggest that they join it again. So if they get kicked out of your group because they didn't answer your questions, or your membership queue because they didn't answer your questions, then Facebook will sometimes suggest they join again, or they'll go back to check and they'll see that it's not there, and so they might ask again. Maybe they'll even read the description, and that would be great, because then they would see that they need to try to message you, and then they might try to message you, and they might find their member request folder. We can always hope, but sometimes it takes several times for them to find it, and that's okay. Okay, Kate Watkins. Again, we have a lot of groups in common, but that's okay, because they're admin groups. So we'll go with this cross streets. Copy these, put it in my map. Okay, so the color is telling me that there's not actually a group there. So my group, you can't even see on this map, but it's way up here, and she's way down there. So I need to send her the template for there is not a group in your area yet. Okay, lives out of area, no group to refer them to. Okay, so I'll send her a message. I always message them first and then decline them, because that way I can just do the messages from here. If I declined her first, then I'd have to go back and find the link to her to message. So that doesn't work. Okay, so I would actually change this a little bit. Thanks for your recent request to join Buy Nothing neighborhood. And then I will fill in this here. Okay, doesn't look like there's a group currently in your area. If you want to find one, or if you want to start one, please start one. If you would like to join Buy Nothing 7 Challenge, that's also an option. And then you hit return. I'm interested to see if this link is actually working. Yeah, see? Okay. So Facebook doesn't like to save the whole thing, because I actually just went in and edited this document. For some reason, when you type a group name in a document, it always does the dot, dot, dots. It's really annoying. So when you have your templates, you'll have to fix that. Okay, so then I can decline her request. Okay, Daria. Again, we have lots of groups in common, but they are all admin groups. Okay, so she is not in any other groups, but she is only 20 years old. So normally we would say, no, come back when you're 21 and join. We would love to have you. Well, I'll look at her address too. But it does say that she is hoping to find some baby supplies for her little boy. So we do have an exception, which you can choose. In the US, because our adult age of joining is high, we do sometimes have members who are between the ages of 18 and 21. And in other countries, if the ages are a little lower, like Canada, it might be like 18, in which if you are a parent, a young parent, or a married couple with kids that are just very young, we can make an exception for that. So that is at admin discretion, and if you feel like their behavior once they join the group is not appropriate because of their age, perhaps, then you can let them know, this isn't working. We all participating as adults. So let's see if she's in my group. Okay, that didn't. Oh, there it is. Okay. So here's, click on this. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out. My group is yellow, so that's not my group. So if she was just in the wrong group, then this is the template I would send. Lives out of area, refer to a different group. So I would copy and paste this one. Thanks for your interest to join Buy Nothing Pflugerville. It looks like your neighbors are in this group. And then I could click on this map, the blue part, and it will give me a link to the group. So I could copy and paste this into this message right here. Because she is underage, I wouldn't want to make the assumption that the admins in the other group would be okay with that without talking to them first. So I have a couple options. I could leave her in the queue, and I could message them and say, hey, there's this 20-year-old young mother trying to join my group, but she's actually in the boundaries of your group. Would you like to discuss it with her first, or do you want me just to decline her and say that she needs to be 21? So I could also message Daria back right now if I wanted to and say, Normally, we require members to be 21 years old, but let me check with the admin of the group that you're supposed to be in and see, if they would like to make an exception. I don't like to do that quite so much unless I know the other admin, because I don't want somebody to think that there is going to be an exception and then there isn't one. So it's probably better in this case to just message the admin of the other group. So if I don't know who that is, I can go to this group. I can click on the link to join or to look at that group. In this case, I am in the other group because it's my newly sprouted partners. But if I wasn't sure, I could go to the About page, which you will be able to see if you're not in the group, and I could see who the admins are, and then message one of them. Oh, sorry, admins over here. Down here, sorry. So I can message one of these admins and say, hey, guys, I got a request from Daria to join, and she's only 20 years old. Do you want me to send her your way or just decline her? Okay, so in this case, I would leave her in the queue. Jessica, again, lots of groups in common. They're all admin groups, so it's okay. It's kind of interesting. Sometimes you find groups in common with people that you're like, oh, that's cool. We have a good group in common. Okay, she only listed one street. So we're going to copy and paste and see where the street is. Okay, so it looks like this street is not very long, and it's all within the bounds of my group, which is yellow. So even though she didn't give me 2 streets, the street is all in the boundaries, and that's fine. If she had given me, where's the street? So this main street right here, which is called Heatherwild, if she had given me a street like that, which also goes north into this group, and north into this group almost, then I would have to ask her for the nearest cross street, and say, like, the street that you gave me goes through 2 or 3 groups, so I need to figure out where you are so I can see if this is the right group. But luckily, her street doesn't do that, so she's given me this thing, so I get to add her to my group. Woohoo! Okay, so we're going to go back up to the top. Okay, and I would send her this message. If you want to make this message shorter, that is totally fine. So the way it is now, thank you for joining the Buy Nothing project. I have approved your request. You indicated that you live at cross streets. The reason that you would send this message with their cross streets is so that later on, if somebody said, oh, I went to pick something up and they weren't in the boundaries and you had done membership, you could go back and look at this and see what they had said for their cross streets. And you're kind of basically feeding it back to them. So, like, this is what you said. I'm approving you on the basis of this. Remember, you can only join one group in case you don't have a group in common if they are in another group in another state, because they live half the time here and half the time there. And then it also asks them to take a moment to visit the file section. I tend not to do this top part, and I just say thank you for joining the Buy Nothing project, and then I have a pinned or announcement post that I use, and so I just say read the announcement. So whatever you would like to do, however it works for you, these are just templates for you to use. Okay, so I'm just going to copy part of this. Please read the announcement for more information about what we do here. And then I'll hit send. And then I will approve her. And there we go. So if I want to see, or if I forget something, or I approve somebody without messing with them, then I can go to admin activity right up here, and I can look and see, and I could go click. So because I got Jessica in the group, if I forgot to send her a welcome message, I could also click on her name here and message her here. So, go back to member requests. Okay, so I have 3 member requests in the queue, and they're just going to stay there because I've messaged them all. So say I get 20 more requests, and I forget who I did what to. So when I go to do this, if I totally forgot about Cheryl, I might say, oh, okay, and put her address back in and go find the answer, look it up on the map. And then when I go to message her, it would pop back up again. And I would be like, oh, I already messaged Cheryl. I asked her these things. She hasn't found them yet, otherwise she would have answered them. And now I can decide what I want to do. Or if you decline Cheryl, so let's say Cheryl has still been in my queue for 2 or 3 days. She hasn't seen my message. I'm just ready to decline her. I can decline her. And then if she asks to join again, when I try to message her again to welcome her to the group or figure it out again, I will go here to message her and be like, wait a minute, Cheryl, your cross streets don't work. Then it would pull up this this message, and I would say, oh, I already did this already. You tried to join again, you're still giving the same answers. So it kind of gives me a way to double check myself. So I'm going to go ahead and decline both of these. The other thing to note is that Facebook is not always instantaneous in adding that in and for filling out the form. So they might actually type in the answers to that question, but there might be a slight delay in that coming to you. So you have 3 days in which Facebook will remind them to finish answering the questions. It's 72 hours. And so sometimes, especially if you have a lot of membership in your queue, just do the ones that are easy first, or the oldest ones. And then if they're newer ones, then you can leave them until 72 hours, or you have extra time to message them, and then you can see if it is repopulated. The other instance that we didn't go over now is if, so say Cheryl's a member of my group and she invites another member, one of her friends, to join. So they'll have a little note at the top that says invited by name of person. So in that case, they usually don't fill out the questions, because if your friend invites you, Facebook will notify you that your friend invited you, but it takes a little while for that to get to you, and then you go fill out the questions, and then the questions will show up on membership. So those usually take a little bit longer. So for that, we would go over to here. Okay, I think it's under invited by friend. Oh, I swear there was one. Okay, this is not one. Oh, there it is. Okay. So it would be, hello, your friend. Put the name of their friend in so that they know who to contact if they don't like this. Thought that you might be interested in joining our group by Nothing Pflugerville. The group is for neighbors who live in Pflugerville. And then it's basically the same as if they didn't answer the questions. So for these, I would message them this, and then I would go decline their request to join, or their friends' attempt to invite them to join. And then sometimes you'll get random messages from them like, what is the Buy Nothing Project? I don't know. If you have someone who likes to just invite all of their friends to join, then the best thing to do for that is to reach out to that friend. So say Amy has invited 25 members to join my group, but none of them know what it is. So I might message Amy and say, hey, thanks for asking all your friends to join. I'm glad that you're so excited. The way Facebook does things, it's not very easy for them to find my message requests. So could you send them a personal message and let them know that they have a message request from me? And in the future, if you can message your friends and say, hello, I'm a part of this awesome group and I wanted to know if you wanted to join, and then give them the link to join themselves. There's a post that is in the training and in the volunteer resource center that I use in my group, and I just have that as a thread. And then if a lot of people, if Amy was messaging 25 people, I can tag her there, and it explains how we'd rather do it person to person. Okay, I think that is it. We did it. It's not usually that long because a lot of the people that are joining are going to be in your group. You can also sort them if you want to. So if you only have 5 minutes and you want to do the easy ones, you could sort by answered all the questions. In this case, there's nobody left. But then you can just go do those first. Or if you have a new group and you're just starting out, and so there's a lot of people that are asking to join, I usually sort by oldest first so that I can start from the end as opposed to approving the most recent people and leaving the older people for later. And remember too that you, as a new admin, if you haven't been a Facebook admin before, you get about 25 messages in the morning and 25 in the evening to strangers. So if you have a large membership queue, you have to just kind of chip away at it and do it a little bit at a time. If it ever gives you a CAPTCHA, which will say like this process is not allowed, or sometimes we'll ask you to confirm that you're an actual person. It seems like it's not doing that so more. Then you need to stop. Because if you send any more messages to strangers within 24 hours, you're likely to end up in Facebook jail, which means that it's going to be an undetermined period of days before you can send messages to strangers again, which you don't want to happen, especially when you're trying to start out a new group. So if you ever get a CAPTCHA, just stop, wait literally 24 hours at least, and then you can start again and just chip at it little by little.